Today I'm going to be heading over to Dagfields Antique and Collectors Centre in Nantwich, Cheshire, but don't worry, I'm not going to be looking for old copper kettles or Ming vases. So last week on Bank Holiday Monday we went into a shop and it was one of the best retro toy shops I've ever been in, but unfortunately we got there half an hour before they closed, so I didn't really have enough time to have a good look round, let alone do a video. So today we're heading back to 88 miles per hour Toys and Collectables. So Dagfields is a little bit like bygone times from my video last year, but instead of being in one big warehouse, there's a load of smaller businesses in like small units and converted barns. And like I said, the one we're taking a look at today is probably one of the best toy shops I've ever been in. Well, since the 80s anyway. So this is Dagfields, and as you can see there's loads of old warehouses and barns, and 88 miles per hour toys is just in this unit here. I was seeing so many things I'd forgotten about. So those things there, those like three little round things, I think they've got like a weight inside them, and they used to like wiggle when you like rolled them down a hill. I can't remember the names. What are these called? They're like big jelly bean type things. Not jelly bean, jumping beans.
Wiggly Gigglies.
Wiggly Gigglies, that's the one. Yeah. Completely forgotten about those. Yeah, so I never had a Wiggly Giggly, but I used to remember the adverts on TV. Then you've got Battle Beasts annual there. I can't actually. Oh, there they are. The Battle Beast figures. Now I believe that is one of the Dino Riders. Yeah, it's got to be. Never had any Dino Riders, but I used to think they were quite cool. I think that was based on a cartoon. Not quite sure. There's that many cartoons I used to watch when I was younger. And the turret and probot playset that I reviewed earlier this year. So here's all the carded figures such as Power of the Force, Power of the Jedi, Black Series, Revenge of the Sith. And I've kept hold of mine because I've got that talking Darth Vader. I think it's that one I've got. Yeah, I kept hold of it thinking it was going to be worth something. It's only worth £10. Never mind. And we've got the vintage collection here. But to be quite honest, I think I'm going to be selling off all my modern Star Wars toys and just focus on vintage. So at one time I would have bought that and just stuck it in my Star Wars room and forgot about it. But now I'm going to hang fire because, like I said, I'm going to be selling all my modern stuff. And that'll free up more space so I can spread out my vintage collection. Now that's one thing I've not got, and that is the Palatoy Cantina. So here's all the Power of the Jedi figures. And the horrendous Power of the Force 1 from '95 with the really chunky characters. There you go, there's that hideous Princess Leia. No idea why Kenner did that. And made everyone look hench. And I haven't seen that many mask toys since I was in Toy and Hobby in the mid-80s. So even though I never really collected, well, I didn't have any mask toys, I think some of my friends did. And I just loved the way that the cars and what have you transformed and had like rockets firing out of them. But of course, I used to watch the cartoon. Just love how all the boxes are uniform, very aesthetically pleasing. So they've got the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sewer playset. Nearly said Hero Turtles then. That's £120. But I think I'm going to just stick to the figures, unless I can find a cheap, complete party wagon. But I think that's missing a lot of the parts. It's missing the orange door on the side. And they've got the re-release of the Turtle Blimp there. But yeah, I think for the time being I'm just going to try and get all my turtles complete with their weapons. Count Duckula toys there. Not sure if that's a puppet. He's got like some cardboard shoved in his mouth. Count Duckula wristwatch. Wallace and Gromit. Never been into Wallace and Gromit. I think I've seen one or two of the programmes, but I've never really been into them. And this is something you don't see very often, Dick Tracy figures. So I think I had 3 Dick Tracy figures. I had Dick Tracy, Big Boy, Caprice, and what's the other guy called? I think he had like a blue suit on. Influence, I think he was called. But yeah, I certainly didn't have the blank, which was one of the hardest figures to get hold of. I got some dinky toys there, including some James Bond Moonraker shuttle, Aston Martin, and a rocket-firing Batmobile. So they've got a Lego Ecto-1 there, with some original real Ghostbusters figures on cardback at the back there. I think they're the originals and not the re-releases. Yeah, they will be at that price. Some Rocky gloves. Don't think they're signed by Sylvester Stallone. I think they're just like a collectible replica. Ah, so these are the re-releases. Because these are only £18. So they got Venkman and Ray. And some random Boglins. I think these are the modern ones as opposed to the originals. I think there is one original in a cabinet somewhere. I did see one earlier. That's the kind of cabinet I want for my room, because I can fit a lot of consoles and computers in one of those. So I found the rest of the Dino Riders. And like I said, I can't remember if this was a cartoon or not. But I do remember the TV commercials for these toys. So it looks like we've got a original dusty bin there, but unfortunately I think he's missing his arms unless they're detachable and they're actually inside. You see so many like knockoff like porcelain dusty bins from the quiz show 321, but I think that is an official one. And maybe it's like a Mr. Potato Head where the eyes and the nose and the mouth is removable. We've got some Super Ted things in there, Danger Mouse, Fraggle Rock, Wuzzles. And speaking of Wuzzles, they have a load of plush Wuzzles here now. Let's see if I can remember the names. So that one is Bumbleion. He's a cross between a lion and a bee. That one is Moosel, which is a cross between a moose and a seal. I can't remember what that guy's name is. That one's Butterbear, because it says right there. I think it's a bear and a butterfly. Piggypine, pig and a porcupine. But yeah, I think that was a cartoon in the 80s. And speaking of cartoons from the 80s, they've got the Get Along Gang playset here. What was this one? I think it was the Caboose something. Yes, the Clubhouse Caboose. But I have no idea what their names were. And we've got a few Cheekaboos down here. And I had a Cheekaboo when I was younger. Don't judge me. I think it was called something else in Japan, but in the UK it was changed over to Cheekaboo. If I there we go. It was called Monchichi, I think, in Japan. And who remembers Alf? The classic sitcom from the 80s. And they've got quite a few Alf plushies. So these were probably from a Burger King promotion. Yeah, because they've got like different outfits on, so they were obviously given away with Burger King meals. Some Home Pride baking sets, kitchen scales, based on the Home Pride flower mascot. And some Magic Roundabout toys. Now, I did have a lot of Magic Roundabout toys when I was very young, but I don't think they've got any of them in here. I think I might have had that. I don't think I had that, like Sponge Dougal. But yeah, it was something like that. I had like a little train set and the figures. And there's the Pigs in Space playset. I'm not sure when that was released. It looks like a current one, like a McFarlane. And I think these are modern as well. I used to have that. So I had that jigsaw there, with Fozzie Bear and Kermit. And I always wondered why Fozzie Bear was dressed like a Pearly King from London, you know, the Pearly King and Pearly Queens. But then I found out later in life that the Muppet Show was actually produced in the UK. And some more figurines there, Flintstones, Top Cat, Officer Dibble. And we've got some original My Little Pony, and a whole cabinet full of original Care Bears. Some of which are still in their packaging. And I think that is a Cindy doll. My sister used to have loads of Cindy dolls and accessories, and I think she had like a massive house. Got a character from the Banana Splits there. Some Carry On bobbleheads. Oh, there's the other guys from the Banana Splits. And Mr. Ben. Never seen Mr. Ben toys before. So if you don't know, Mr. Ben was a cartoon in the UK in the I think late 70s, maybe even earlier. But I used to watch it in the 80s. About a guy who used to go into a clothes shop, and that's the shopkeeper there, and he used to go into the changing rooms, and every episode he had a different outfit on and had an adventure. So obviously that one's from the episode where he dressed as a spaceman. Looks like we've got some Muppet Babies figurines. I'm not sure who these characters are. Is it the Rescuers? I think it was a Disney film. Yeah, that's the they're from the Rescuers. More Furbies. A load of California raisins. And at the top there we've got some Roger Rabbit figures and bendy toys. And I don't know if you can see it there. I don't want to get it out. There's like a huge bendy Roger Rabbit. So it's like that one, minus the handcuffs. But it's about 12 inches tall. And back in 1988, after the release of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I used to pester my parents to buy me that. And they refused because I was too old. I was only like 13, but I really wanted that Roger Rabbit, and that's still sealed, and it's only £35. But it's quite big, and I'm limited on space at the moment. And there's a huge, huge Tweety and Sylvester statue there, along with a load of pops. And this is something I always wanted but never got, and that is the big yellow teapot. And this is only £25, but again, I've got nowhere to put it. I don't think my wife would be happy if I turned up with a big yellow teapot in my car. It says it's incomplete, but I'm not sure what it's missing, unless it's one or two of the figures. We've got some annuals on these shelves: Fame, Wurzel Gummidge, Rent-A-Ghost, Sooty, the official Crossroads annual, which was a soap opera, Allo Allo, which was a sitcom, Popeye, Looney Tunes, and Bugs Bunny. And you've got a lot of Action Man toys up there. That's something I've never been into. I remember one of my friends had that, I think it's like a training tower. And they've got two of them. There's one there, and there's one over there on that side. But they've got a lot of the vehicles. So there's like a truck up there, tank, jeep, motorbikes, and all the different variations of Action Man. So yeah, the majority of the stuff in this room is like girls' toys, like My Little Ponies, Care Bears, Wuzzles. Everywhere I look, I see something new. There's just stuff everywhere. There's that Nightmare Fuel from Toy Story. And over this side, we've got some of the more recent re-releases of Masters of the Universe. I think that's an original Snake Mountain. Castle Grayskull, Dragon Walker, and the massive re-release of Eternia. So I'm guessing that's the same size as the vintage Eternia box, because that playset is absolutely huge. And you've got all the Harry Potter toys there, and of course Rainbow Bright. And some Trumpton figures. That's either Trumpton or Camberwick Green. Ah, there's Trumpton. Now, that's something you don't see every day. A Desperately Seeking Susan action figure. So we've got some Indiana Jones figures here from, I think it was 2008. Now that is something I've been after for a while. The original vinyl soundtrack for Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think I can see the price. 20. I think that will be coming home with me because I've already got Temple of Doom. But yeah, I think I'll check out the condition of that vinyl and get it if it's any good. And they also have a small selection of retro games and consoles. So I didn't come away with too much stuff. Well, not as much as I would have liked, but I was sensible and I refrained from buying everything in the shop that I wanted. So the first thing I got, you saw me talking about, and I wanted to check the condition before I bought it, and that was the Raiders of the Lost Ark vinyl, the original vinyl from 1981. And it was a little dusty, and there's 2 or 3 scratches on the vinyl, and I was going to take it to a record shop on site because I believe he's got a cleaner, but when I got there it was closed, so I might try and give it a go myself and clean it. So yeah, this is the original, like I said, from 1981, and I've been after this for quite some time, and I've already got Temple of Doom, so I just need to get Last Crusade now. And speaking of Raiders, I also got the Raiders of the Lost Ark annual. Now, the entire book is the comic adaptation, so there's no like section in the centre with like interviews from the production team and cast. It's literally just the comic adaptation. And you know me, I can't go to these types of shops without coming away with at least one video game, especially when it's in minty condition like this. Cheap and cheerful Olympic gold from the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona. Nice cartridge and manual, and it's even got the limited edition souvenir brochure telling you all about the different events and previous Olympic Games from years gone by. And the final thing I got this week is what you saw me talking about in the video, and I did want to make sure it was complete before I bought it, and it was indeed. And that is the Dusty Bin from Peter Pan Playthings. So I was right, it is kind of like a Mr. Potato Head toy with interchangeable features, and it also has those included. So these were all inside the bin. And he's even got a different nose, but I think I'm going to keep him the way he is because this is how he looked in the TV programme. So if you don't know what 321 is, it was a quiz show. I think it was the late 70s. I think this is date stamp 1978, and it ran right through to sort of like the mid to late 80s. And the booby prize on 321 was a brand new bin, hence Dusty Bin. When I was younger, I thought the contestants actually won a full-size Dusty Bin, but no, it was just a metal bin. And when we went last week on bank holiday, I just bought one thing, and that was a bendy Roger Rabbit. Now, this isn't the one that I wanted as a child. This is a 3 3/4 inch scale figure, and this was only £9. They did have some carded ones, but they were 30. So just picked this up for £9. So that was 88 miles per hour toys and collectibles, an absolute must if you're into retro and vintage toys. Now, I was there for about 3 hours, so I must have done about 50 laps of the shop, and every time I walked round I saw something new that I'd not seen previously. Even when I was editing the video, I kept seeing things in the cabinets that I'd missed when I was actually there. So you do need to spend some time and have a good look round. It's a great shop, and I will be back. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, bye!